So the question is, what are the characteristics of an effective coachee? If that's what it is, percentage is 90%, self-coaching, what are the characteristics of an effective coachee? Okay, that's the question I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to break up the groups a little bit, create some super groups. Not that you've been troublemakers or anything, but I'm going to move Mark this side and Nikki that side. Give you about 5 minutes this time to think about that. There are 9 that's come out from my research. Okay, what are the 9 characteristics of an effective coachee? Okay, I'll say a bit more about that once you've done that. I have 5 minutes just to put stuff down, get words down on the page, and think about what those 9 characteristics or values or skills or behaviours, call them what you want, might lead to a score, higher than 40%. Okay, have a quick huddle, and we'll move on. So, the good news is I know you got some great answers here, okay? There are 9, okay? I just want to kind of position your 9 answers in a minute, because, we had a big celebration earlier, so I want to just manage that competitive edge to the room a little bit. So, I'm going to write this up, because in a bit, sometimes people get really competitive. I go, okay, can we just go back to the flip chart a bit minutes ago, right? So, but it's all good fun. It's energy. That's what I want the energy, a bit of banter. So, this is like a map of coachability, if you like, a model of coachability paradigm. Call it what you want, right? I think there are 3 options in which you can take to get here, roughly speaking. Okay. Number 1, if you are coaching someone or just someone in your team, you could actually create their own map. Okay, which is perfect. It's completely bespoke to them, and it is for them. Okay, so the sorts of things I ask when I coach externally, and I'll talk a bit more about that later on. Often what happens in that first meeting or contracting session, or whatever you want to call it, is they say, "Oh, Stuart, who are you? What's your background? Why would I want to work with you?" And sometimes they're picking me from other coaches, so it's a sales job. Okay, the first thing I say, "Well, I want to find out more about you. Forget me for the moment. I'm not important." Because if you're working with a coach, let's assume they are ready for coaching, and the other 2 people you're going to speak to are probably ready as well. Okay, so the first thing I start talking about is what's your background, what's your role, and I want to establish, how coachable are they, and actually map it out for them. Okay, so I'd say, what 3 things do you think you need to bring to these sessions to get the most from them? And they'll say, I need to be X, Y, and Z, and you just start creating their own map for me and for them. Okay, and I'll say, what things might get in the way for you. Well, I'm not really sure how much I should share about some of the changes in politics. Okay, so you've got it on the map. You know what's going to be easy, and you know what might be a challenge. Like anything, that's what a map does, doesn't it? Are you going to walk up the hill or around the hill? Type stuff. Okay, so that's 1. So this is bespoke, and this is just for that coachee. Okay, and you could just be something you have in your own head. You've got a team member, you just kind of know what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So it doesn't have to be this formal. Number 2. Again, you populate a map, whatever you want to call it, and this time it's bespoke again, but it's bespoke for the organisation. So what you could do here is take into account values, culture, where you're at in terms of the coaching journey, and start to think about, well, the top 5 things that we think we need from people coming into being coached, like Natalie talked about earlier, you might say, you could actually map them out. Okay? So if integrity is a big deal to your organisation for whatever reason, then integrity probably would be on this chart. It might not be that on that one or the one to come. Okay? And obviously the third one, which is what I'll show you in a minute, is basically the same sort of thing, but it is the theory that's come out from the 85 interviews and the writing of the book. Okay? Now you've got 3 choices how to make your map. Of course you can choose and pick from all 3 like we did earlier, the hybrid version. Okay? So you can have a look at theory going, yeah, let's pinch some of the best bits of theory, stick it into our own organisation model, or yes, let's find out from coaching what's important to them and say, well, by the way, what about this theory? How does that relate to you? And fill in some gaps. You might add challenges and stuff like that. So the idea is this is how you can create a map. Okay? Because in a minute, I'm going to ask you to kind of compare your answers against that. Okay? And what you just done that is one kind of a version of these things for yourself. Okay? Right, so let's find out this and how it relates to what you've got.